Okay, so what I'm looking at today is a new financial system, or an idea for a new financial system. Why do we need one? AI is a bit of a thing at the moment. They're telling us it might take loads of our jobs. There's a case to argue, and so what we need is like a new financial system so that the AI becomes good for everybody and not just good for those left with some form of income, whether it's working in AI or prompt engineers and stuff, or somebody who has land or property and can take rental income and sort of leave the rest of us and the rest of the population in less unproductive, useless eaters, as it were, in a bit of an economic mess. Very arguable that we've needed a new financial system for many, many decades now. England, for example, used to be a very industrialised country, and the financial system we had, very arguably, was fine for that purpose, for matching what we were doing industrially. But I don't know, ever since the 70s, there's been quite a decline in large areas of the United Kingdom, for example, and so there's been the case that we needed a new system, or a partially new system, for many, many decades. The financial system isn't like the law of gravity. It's not some fixed given that you have to deal with. It's actually just a bunch of artificial rules, and we can change those rules. And so what I'm going to do here is explain kind of the basics of how the financial system currently works, and then how I think it could change. It might not go that way. You might have a better idea, but I think the base of it gets that discussion going. I think my idea is going to work very well, but it might need adding to. Let me explain again what I'm going to do, why this needs to be done on by a metaphor, a couple of metaphors. One is you're driving your car and it's full of petrol, but the indicator is showing you're on empty. What do? You see, the thing is that the financial system is an indicator. It's not real wealth. If you have lots and lots of real wealth and your financial system says you're poor, the question is, what do you do there? Now, for the car situation, what you do is you go to the garage and you get your indicator fixed. What you don't do, wouldn't even dream of doing, is going by the side of the road and getting a siphon and emptying your petrol tank in order so the petrol tank would match what your faulty indicator is saying. But what we do in the modern world now is we'll take a wrecking ball to reality and knock things down and destroy things and close things down when the financial indicator is on empty. There's a case, a very large case, that's a good idea. So, for instance, if people no longer want the product, it's that you don't have any cash left and no business left, is a very good pricing signal, as it were, that allows you to close down quickly and somebody else to produce something that people do want. So that we don't want to be throwing the baby out with the bathwater on this. Communist systems tend to attempt to solve these sort of issues by having teams of experts or individuals who are great people to decide who should do what, when, how, where, and why. And there's just too many variables for that person to do, and it always ends in mess. There's a worry that people are now looking at AI and going, wow. I mean, one of the fundamental flaws in communism is the knowledge problem, information. Is that the big fat controller, as it were, who's now controlling every aspect of everybody's life, can't know all the information needed for everybody to do the different things. Always going to end up in a disaster. There's the worry that people might think AI could catch up with this. I can't see that ever happening. It might be where it'll be a slight advantage in one area, it'll lose it in other areas. So no, the pricing signalling that we have within the current financial system is wonderful, but we do have fundamental flaws in the system. It is designed for more of an industrial age than we now have, and more of an expansionist age than we do now, which I'll get on to in a moment or two. So that's one metaphor with the car. You wouldn't empty your tank to match the gauge. The other little metaphor is the is the alien planet, whereby they're super advanced and they've had eons of where they've lived their lives with robots and all sorts of gadgets doing all the work for them. Their financial system must be different from ours, because otherwise they just had a really bad unemployment problem and they would have it for eons and it would cause disaster. Now, the thing is, whatever system the aliens are using, we kind of need half of it really, because we are kind of halfway there. And with AI, in 5 years' time, might almost get us there. We really need to start not being held back by using an outdated financial system. And by being held back, what am I actually after here? When you listen to a politician talk from any end of the spectrum, they'll always bang on about this. We need jobs, we need to create jobs, we need more work. The best way to create work is to destroy all the machines. So if there's a hole in the road, then instead of somebody with a machine coming and fixing it in 5 minutes or so, you need 300 people to be digging for 3 or 4 days. We can solve the unemployment problem very quickly by getting rid of all automation. I don't want more work, I want more life. We could be doing far better things in our life than spending the same house that our grandparents lived in and paid for. And when I say grandparents worked for, it was just usually the grandfather doing the work. So on one single income, the same sort of poky little house that we're now living in now is taking both parents. And when I say parents, a lot of people can't afford to have children. They working all day, all life, to be able to afford a poky little place that somebody 100 years ago was able to buy on a postman's salary. So I don't want more work, I want more life. That we should be not going down and down and down, but up and up and up. What does up and up and up mean? Well, it's up to you. When you have free time and resources to buy things and do things, then one man's meat is another man's poison, as it were. So it's not for me to say what better is, but not everybody spending their entire life either destitute or unemployed and living on state handouts, or those who are working themselves to death for a poky little house and then getting half that money taken off them anyway to support everybody else who can't get a job because there's not many jobs left anymore. And whatever that situation is, again, only going to get worse. And so I'm going to explain how the basic fundamentals of the financial system that we have had for a few hundred years now work, where the major flaw line is, and suggestions how to fix it. Let's get on with it.